Money?
Money.
What monies?
The issue that, and this started 2 years ago, and I believe my predecessor started that, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. It's quite a hit. We were doing the vegetation prior to hurricane season and the bulk after hurricane season. To dump all that at $42 a ton, we were taking quite a hit. After speaking with the refuse supervisor this year, he had actually recommended last year that we try to not eliminate it, but see if we could somehow make it a little more feasible for us to do. This year, we did away with it for the time being.
Okay, because it's a little concerning to me that, you know, the numbers, you might save more money up front, but you're still going to end up doing the same numbers in your vegetation bulk, because the people that trim will still trim and put it out. There's no additional cost to them if they're putting it out when they trim and put it out at bulk. And they're also, you know, after hurricane, I think you're going to be inundated with more.
It's not so much the vegetation that we were worried about. And I'd actually talked to Mr. O'Neill as far as leaving the vegetation amnesty. It was more the bulk that we're concerned about, that we're taking a substantial, would give me the word for it, as far as the hit that we're taking on that. And there were some other things we wanted to constitute this year where we thought that money could be used instead of eating it during amnesty.
Okay, and then briefly on the vegetation piece of it, I know I talked a while back to Joe Kroll, and he was looking at bringing back the mulching. Is that something you're looking at? Has that been tabled? Because, you know, one of the big things we need is mulch around 6th Avenue, 10th Avenue, in the downtown corridor. And, you know, we unfortunately just cut down a big tree and none of that was mulched. I mean, I'd like to see some kind of a mulching program brought back.
That had been tabled prior to me taking the position. That is something we're looking at bringing back. But just to go back real quick, the 3 debris specialist positions we added, there were certain things like that we were trying to use some of those funds for that prior to now we had been putting into the bulk amnesty.
Okay.
So we're trying to kind of spread the money out a little more so we can get a little more bang for our buck and kind of try to get downtown and other areas picked up a little bit more.
Okay, and Madam Mayor, if you don't mind, while I have Jamie, may I? Yes. The 3 new positions,
yes.
We hired them and they have been working in the downtown. We're seeing them move around. I've gotten a lot of visibility calls on that. There's still some things we need to tweak, but I'll talk to you that later. And then the biggest call I'm getting is 2nd Avenue.
Okay.
Originally, you know, 7th Avenue started after 2nd Avenue. 2nd Avenue isn't done yet, but 7th Avenue is. People are really concerned about when 2nd Avenue. I've got an email this week that said 2nd Avenue was going to be paved on Tuesday and Wednesday. Today nothing was going on. Has that changed?
Well,
and then also the second piece to that, originally when TD Bank was coming in, and William might be able to highlight on this.
Can we do those in one-on-ones, or do we need to do, I know this is a bullet point of.
Well, I was asked to do it
today?
In open because there's been so many questions coming into City Hall.
Oh, okay, so you should have done under Commissioner comments as opposed.
Well, he wasn't in the room yet.
Okay. All right, just
that's why I asked if we could, where are we with 2nd Avenue?
Well, 7th Avenue North was public services. 2nd Avenue is actually utilities. So Monica's kind of been heading that up. I am not sure, being it's utility project, exactly where they're at with that, or what their scheduling is as far as paving. I'm not sure if, Claire, are you aware of the schedule or anything?
I had seen a email from Monica to a resident about that.
That it would be done Tuesday and Wednesday.
It was Tuesday and Wednesday, so I'll double check and find out where.
It was pouring rain today.
They were supposed to come and do a lift and take all those imperfections.
If it was scheduled for today, they would not have been paid. Excuse me. You couldn't have paid them.
Okay.
I have a first-hand view of that project.
Thank goodness mine was 7.
And I live right there too. Okay. Anything we can do to get that project done?
I'll take that up. If I could just quickly on the amnesty, I'll get with staff to talk about the vegetative issue and about the litter positions that we're talking about. Those are for the entire city, starting with some of the problems downtown, but we had issues on 6th, on 10th, and in the public parks and in the public rights-of-ways, the entrances to town. So you'll see those staff doing that detail work and picking up in those areas. I don't know if I get the wrong impression about why we created those.
Yeah.
Because the city is looking pretty messy from stem to stem, and we're trying to come up with creative ways to get ahead of that and start to make it look better. And so that was an important move forward for his department to do that. We'll talk about the amnesty issue between the bulk and vegetation. It's been my experience, and of course I'm new here too, but amnesty for vegetation before hurricane season makes a lot of sense. And so I'll get back to staff and we'll talk about that issue in particular. I don't know about the bulk issue. I don't want to be hauling away a bunch of people decide to clean out their garage all of a sudden before a storm.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what was happening at $42 a ton.
And that's,
we're getting a lot
that's
of-
definitely, we want to be clear, I'm not talking about that.
No, I'm
Vegetation,
concerned on the
Yeah,
vegetation.
we're talking vegetation, not.
Speaking of vegetation,
Yes,
thank you,
ma'am.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to you and your staff too. The areas of city-owned properties on the south end. God, that Brazilian pepper that was right by 10th Avenue South and the railroad tracks there. The city owns, people think it's FEC, but the city owns a big part of that land down there. And that was covered by Brazilian pepper. And if you remember in my Visions and Goals presentation that I did a long time ago, I was very concerned because that pepper just kept getting bigger and bigger. And there's at least 35 school-age kids in that neighborhood. And there were people living underneath that pepper. There was prostitution, there was all drug activity, all kinds of stuff that was happening under there. Staff did a beautiful, beautiful
We
job.
knocked out the entire FEC
It's,
right there,
it's
so-
magnificent. That and some other city lots too that are in between residential areas too. I just want to thank you very much for that. And I know that the people in that community really, really appreciate it.
Just to clarify, you were around the general area of the FEC right away.
Yes, the general area of the FEC right away.
That's
Just
a
right
big-
outside, up to the property line.
Yeah,
Of
no,
the FEC right away.
that whole area too. Thank you
Not that
very
we
much.
would ever
Thank
be
you,
on
staff.
the FEC.
Absolutely not.
Just to clarify that.
Any other comments?
Uh,
Commissioner McBoyd, you have something?
Did that include taking down the Australian pines, or did those stay in that area around near 10th and not on the FEC property?
Some of those come down, I actually need to take a look at that. I'm not sure if we got all of those down. Because we were out there with the big bush hog and mostly doing not
Low
the
stuff.
trees per se,
Yeah.
but most of the low vegetation.
And I'm of mixed mind on those. I know that overall the county has a policy because they're exotics to take them down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's about, in the summer, the only shade in that area. So I guess I would encourage you to work with the folks in that community and try to find some compromise that leaves them some shade. I understand the concern about the Brazilian pepper.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, no, I know that. I've got pictures of it on here, actually. And then I wanted to follow up on Ms. Sharp's comment. I'm assuming the bar stool concern was outside of bars downtown, or a particular one. I've also received comments from residents about that one, and my understanding was that we did, I think, pretty much the same as what you said, that in the permit we specifically said no. So I hope that somebody will follow up and check the permit.
That's
and make
actually
sure-
in process. The suspect bar stools sitting in front of IGOTS.
It's been cited.
It's been cited. And then the general issue of the intrusion into the sidewalk areas and the ADA concerns we're also addressing and working with FDOT and the businesses, so that there'll be things going out on that as well.
I requested a meeting with the city manager in regards to ADA compliance in that
That's
I
a
do
big-
hear
that's a
that
big
one
issue, yeah.
quite a big bit
Yeah.
also, so I appreciate very much doing
Yes.
that. And I'd like to reiterate my support for Commissioner Alvaroso's comment on the mulching. I think there are a lot of people who would be happy to take some mulch off your hands or use it for, there are plenty of places around town that can do
Park
it.
areas too, that we can
Sure,
do them.
We
exactly,
have a lot we generate, so that's why we're looking at bringing it back.
yeah.
So.
Wonderful.
I don't know anything about the the valet parking issue that Ms. Sharp raised, but it does seem a bit of a concern if it's a state road, which I guess that's my understanding also. Probably we'll get in trouble with the governor or something if we're giving out permits, and I don't think we want to do that. And I would like to see, everybody likes those garbage pickup sheets, so even at a minimum, if we put them on the website as a PDF that people could download and print and give to, print 3 and give some to their neighbors?